All right, well, everybody's coming. So what did you guys think of the video? Wasn't that fun? Paula,
It was
you're
beautiful.
muted. I can see you, but yeah, there you go.
It's beautiful. It was perfect.
Right.
We were just there 2 weeks ago, and
Oh, lucky
it took
you.
us actually Columbus Day weekend, so a little over a week. And it just watching the video and watching all of your videos, it's just like taking us back there.
That's so fun. I'm still looking. Sharmon, let me know if you're on there because I don't know if you're there as a phone number or, but anyway. Well, I'm just going to get started. I'm Kirsty. I am the publisher of Beachcombing Magazine and the founder of Beachcombing Club. Thank you guys all for showing up. I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping while we're getting going. I have put everybody on mute, but you can unmute yourself whenever you have a question. There's also a little button. I don't know where, if you're on your phone or a computer, but there's a little button called chat. And if you feel like just posting a question there, you can post it there. Otherwise, you can sort of, when there's a break, when I'm not blabbering like I usually do, you can just jump in and ask your question. And then we're recording this now and we might make it available later, just depends, technical things happen, but basically whoever's talking shows up on the video. And it's fun for people to see who had like a meeting or something and couldn't come today. Where everybody's here today, I'm not sure if you know about Beachcombing Magazine, but it's a magazine about sea glass and seashells and beach fossils and coastal crafts and all kinds of stuff. You can find out about it at beachcombingmagazine.com. And here's one of the ones. Here's another one. Just have them with me. And I actually made a coupon code for you guys. So it's SWF Beach Life. And it's 10% off everything through November 21st. So if you're thinking about subscribing, go check out beachcombingmagazine.com. We also have an event next month on Small Business Saturday, which is the Saturday of Thanksgiving. And we're going to have a full day of talks and Zoom meetings and people from all over. We start in England and we end up in Japan. So if you go to Beachcombing Magazine, you can click on the link and check that out. So there's Sharmon, I see you. You're muted. So I'm going to ask, there you are, asked to unmute.
On the clams.
Yay. So this event is made possible through members of Beachcombing Club. It's a group of people who support the creation of these videos. We have a Patreon page and you can learn about it online. And thank you to the club members here today. I think Anne, Betty, Carol, Crystal, Cindy, Debbie, Kim, Nancy, Pauline, and Svea are all registered. So hopefully they've made it here. So I'm going to just do a quick introduction. Sharmon has the popular YouTube channel, SWF Beach Life. I bet a bunch of you guys are already following her. And if you're not, you should go. It's just a weekly dose of beach happiness. So she shows what she finds. She tells you how to get to the beaches, and she does other stuff that isn't just beachcombing. So if you're thinking of visiting, definitely go check out her channel. And she's really helpful about, like, if you're going down for a visit, ask her favorite beaches, ask her where she likes to go, how to get there, when the best time to go is, all that stuff. So with that, I will hand it off to Sharmon and you can just get going. I hear you guys talking, so if you have a question, let me know. How do I unmute? Hitting the little microphone. Just hit the little microphone.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I hear whoever's asking that. Yes.
That's the one that wrote the question. I hit something else.
Okay, cool. So yeah, the code again is SWF Beach Life. So it's just the same name as the channel on YouTube. So goodness me, this tech is confusing. Yeah, join the club, Caroline. We all agree. Yeah, so everybody can mute themselves if they're not talking, just because, your cat or your kid is going to come in and chat at you sometime, or your phone is going to ring. But feel free to just jump in. So Sharmon, once you get going, I'll stop talking.
So I'm Sharmon. Hi, probably the first time, except if you watch that video, the first time you're actually seeing me, because typically I do not really show myself. It's the channel is not about me. The channel is really about the beach. It's about learning. It's about the fascinating things I find, the creatures. There's so much to learn and enjoy. And I just, you know, I don't think my face adds any value to that. So that's just a personal choice that I've made that I typically don't, you know, necessarily go on camera. But I do, and I do have all my shells here. I am a little addicted. If there is a shell in the room, when I go, I can just, I just start gravitating toward it. So it's funny because, I mean, really anyone's home I go to, if I see a seashell, that we're often talking, because there is so many things to love about them. I guess if you are a regular viewer, you know I love my Florida Ronks, and I have this entire, these are my, and what is so cool, I mean, there's many cool things about these, but they're dark brown, or they'll come, there's a cool pattern on it. Sometimes they're light, and sometimes they're orange, and they're just, they're ubiquitous. They're everywhere. They're heavy. They're like this sturdy shell. And no, I'm such a shell nerd that this little notch here, there's a little notch, and that's where the eyeball comes out. So when this little critter crawling along the sea floor, this little eyeball will come out from this spot, that spot, and that's called a stromboid notch. So yes, I am an absolute shell nerd. I love learning about this kind of stuff. I am very kind of like science oriented, even though I also have a creative side. So I'm a strange little mix, but that's one group of the shells that I have. This is my lake box, and I started this when I first started beachcombing, and my attitude about shells has changed a lot. So certain ones I probably kept in the beginning. You know, now I might leave them at the beach. A lot of people are beachcombing. There's only so many shells a person needs. So these are my lightning whelks. I have this big old vessel, but that wasn't quite as fun as finding this one. So this is also a lightning whelk, and you'll see that the color compared to some of the little ones. So that's a little one, and that's where it gets its name, from the lightning stripes. This is going to be a larger one, which was, I felt like a rock star when I found this. I'm walking down the beach. It was awesome. Now you'll see it still has a little bit of color in the center rings there, but for the most part, when they do get big like this, they will kind of lose that color. But it's always awesome to find a nice big shell.
Do you know like how old that one is? Is that like years or months?
That they don't really know. It's really kind of fascinating because I think from a scientific perspective, there are more snails than there are a lot of other different genus of species of animals, yet we don't know a lot about them. So there's no concrete answer for that. I've read anywhere between 10 to 15 years. So I don't have a tiny one, so you can imagine how long it would take to get, and I've seen them a little bit bigger than this even. So, and it's fascinating to me. And these, in a previous video I did show, when they lay eggs, they lay kind of a string of an egg casing. And I did at the end of one of my videos kind of open that up, and you can see they're micro. Like you can't even handle them with your hands. I had to use tweezers. They're
so cute.
As these micro little tiny things and grow to a shell so it absolutely fascinates me. And then I'm a big fan of the glass stuff. So when people ask me, I just have glass jars filled with shells, not all over the place. I'm actually pretty good about it, but this is just a nice mix. I love the way that looks, all the different shells mixed together. And then I've done a couple of East Coast trips, and so I kind of put those shells to the side, different. At least at this point, who knows what'll happen in the future. So like the bittersweets. Oh, here's the leafy jewel box. This one's kind of cool too. And I like having access to them, so they're not trapped in something or glued onto something. And it's a personal choice, and it's just the way that I kind of go about my shell collecting. I have a scallop tower. There's a tower full of scallops. And I also have olives. If you know me, you know I love my olives. So they're big and they're naturally shiny. That's probably the whole girly, shiny, glittery thing, super fun. But I love, so I have a whole little, those are my olives. And we did go up, well, we went twice, but the only one time successfully. We went up to Venice because people do ask me about shark teeth. And so we do have a couple in here, but I had to travel up north. I don't typically find shark teeth here. I believe from here, I probably would have to travel about an hour and a half to start really kind of finding the shark teeth, because we just don't find them down here. What else can I show you? Of course, we'll take some questions. This.
You're precious.
A very long time to find this. I had been talking about finding a big horse conch. It just seemed like everybody has one. I was at the beach. Some of you have probably heard the story. I was at Sanibel with a girlfriend, so I wasn't making a video. We were just shelling and having fun. And this woman, not 10 feet from me, hooked a big horse conch, and I just couldn't believe that it wasn't me. Like, well, I've been looking for a year and a half, and she found one. And so I got it, admittedly, I was a little bitter about it. I mean, I was happy for her. Good for her. She found the shell, but I was kind of womp womp for me, you know, because I had really, really wanted one. Well, I went up to Stump Pass, and I did notice people snorkeling, and they were out there for quite a while. And I finally put my mask on, and I got in there. I was in the water, maybe half hour, and I found this. And when that lady, the husband came over and said, "Did you find that?" I said, "Yeah, I found that today." He calls his wife over, and she experienced what I had, knowing that the shell was there and someone else just managed to find it. So a lot of the times it's just luck. It is just being at the right place at the right time. I happen to travel or try to cover as much as I can. Anytime I'm at the beach, I walk a lot. So I'm not, tiny shells isn't something typically. I have done it, I have found them, but it's not a typical thing for me. I don't typically go out and look for tinies. I'm kind of more a big horse conch kind of shelling gal.
It's nice work if you can get it.
You can get it for sure. Now, what else? All right. Oh, actually, this is going to be my next giveaway. So on my YouTube, I have done giveaways before. This will be the next one. So I've had this and I'm just kind of waiting. So I will announce it, but I give it away to someone. It is a random, to try to promote my channel and my friend Bree over at Beach Girl Studio. So this, if you're watching and you are a subscriber, you might get alerted, and I'll let you know how you can enter to win something that look actually
that is
not
so beautiful.
It's absolutely, she does beautiful work.
Wow.
And us shellers kind of seem to find each other. And so, I've been in touch with a lot of different people who also have a passion for shelling. So it's just kind of it's a nice community of people.
That is stunning.
This is my magic bowl of
Beautiful.
one of every species of stuff I've found. So I have a little bit of everything in here, from the alphabet cone, which is super fun to find. And it's got a short little top compared to the Florida cone. So you can kind of see this guy's top is a little bit taller, and the alphabet cones do get a little bigger than the Florida cones. So they're both cones. In Australia, you got to watch yourself, because these things they can sting, and you can really get hurt by them. We don't have that problem here in Southwest Florida. We do have cones, they will sting, but it's more like a bee sting. So it's not deadly. It's not going to be enjoyable, but
Yeah, like this one.
There you go. There you go. So here I get asked it a lot, but no, the cones here will not. Well, they could harm you, but it's not going to end up in the hospital. It'll be unpleasant, but it's not going to be quite as devastating as it would in another part of the world. This is I love this is a lace murex. And so it's got these beautiful, delicate, and it's just a snail made that. Like it's incredible. So that is another fun. So that is a lace murex. This is an angel wing. That's also
Pretty.
kind of popular. People ask for those a lot. For mementos, especially, they'll look for, because I mean, they look their little wings, so they're beautiful, also beautiful little shells. And then I love the spiny jewel boxes, especially if they're spiny. And a lot of the time I call them lumpy because they've kind of lost all of those spikes on them. But I just think that they're really fun, and it's just cool to see something that nature creates these really cool spiky shells. We have some worm snails.
Mhm.
Those are kind of fun. Okay, here is a pear whelk. And when I first started, I mean, I left my original videos are up on YouTube. So my very first one I ever did, they're terrible, but I leave them there just as a reminder that you got to start somewhere, So it is scary starting a YouTube channel and kind of putting yourself out there and hoping people will respond and hoping people will like it. And so it's just been a lot of tenacity and just faith that the beach is an awesome place that everyone should enjoy. So that's just what kind of keeps me going. I digress. So when I first had found this particular shell, it's a pear whelk, I thought it was a channeled whelk because I just didn't know. It looks a little bit on the top. You don't find channeled whelks here. Those are more in Carolinas. And I just didn't know. So I've learned so much sometimes by making mistakes, and people will correct me. Tons of research, books, online. I enjoy it. I love learning it, and it drives me a little crazy when I find a shell and I'm not really sure what it is and I can't quite figure it out. So that does tend to make me a little crazy, but
Hey,
it is what it is.
Sharmon, somebody
Yeah.
asked, do you have a pear and a fig whelk that you could compare to each other, or
A paper fig, yes.
paper fig?
Where did I do with my pear? Well, here it is. Okay. So this is a paper fig
Oh,
and this is a pear whelk. Now, if you were to see them one at a time, I get it. I understand. But when you see them together, they're actually quite different. This one's kind of got like a little bulge there, where this one's a lot more smooth all the way to the bottom. The tops both have that spiral shape, but the paper fig is very flat, where the pear whelk does have a little bit of a spire. The paper fig is a much thinner shell. It's nothing that I can, when you feel them, the paper fig is a lot more delicate, more like an angel wing. It's on the thinner side, where the pear whelk is going to be a little bit more like a lightning whelk. It's got a little bit of oomph to it. So that is a paper fig, and that is a pear whelk.
very cool. Hey, somebody asked, say it's like 10 a.m. is low tide. This is Yvonne. What time would you say that somebody should go shelling?
Okay, so if I see low tide is at 10, I would like to get there about 8:39, because I like to shell as the tide is going out, and then you're guaranteed to be there when it's dead low tide. And then I also like shelling as the tide is coming in, because it's not all the time. I mean, sometimes I feel like the surf will grab the shells and pull them, and other times I feel like it pushes them back onto the beach. So I typically, and again, depending on how long you want to be at the beach, try to get there an hour and a half or an hour before low tide.
That makes sense. A couple people have asked, what's your favorite beach in Sanibel or Marcos Island? Or do you have one? Or
Well, full transparency, as far as Sanibel, you'll notice I typically go to Bowman's and Blind Pass sometimes, maybe Turner Beach, because I have a parking pass. So parking is $5 an hour on Sanibel. So there's a $6 toll to get over the bridge. I have to look into that too. But then once you park, it's $5 an hour. So if you can imagine, I'm going 4 or 5 hours every single time I go, it kind of, it adds up. So I do have a county parking pass, which allows me to park at Bowman's and Turner Beach. You can walk to Blind Pass from those. So that is typically where I've done most of my shelling. However, I'm going to get another pass this year, and there's going to be a couple more beaches I can add to that. We'll see if it's really different. I mean, it is miles and miles of beach. I think Bowman's is fantastic. It's the first beach I ever visited on Sanibel, because I had read about the great shells and I found nothing. So I literally, and we walked, and we found nothing, and we were leaving, our time is expiring, and I finally found like a Florida fighting conch, and I was so excited for one shell. So I remember what it was like to not have the luxury of going to the beach on a weekly basis. So just based on that, you know, I love Bowmans, but that could change based on my, not ability, but my unwillingness to spend money on parking. I'm going to go ahead and get that passed. And so I will be going to other beaches starting in 2022.
Oh, that's cool. Other people have asked, what's your favorite shell? And I know you don't want to jinx the Junonia, but what are you still hoping to find?
You know, I don't have one favorite, and there's like, I know they're very, like the olives and the Florida fighting conchs, very, they really are very common, but I just love them. I love the alphabet cones and the murex and and lightning. Again, they're all over the place. Even the scallops I had just seen. I mean, look at the pattern on that.
You know,
It's,
hey, you guys, if you didn't know, if you click, there's a button, maybe if you're on desktop where that says view, and you can have it on speaker view, and that puts whoever's talking, makes their window bigger so you can see all the stuff that she's showing us. Sorry, didn't want to interrupt, but
no, yeah, like I know I'm trying to show you things. So I don't have one. I couldn't choose just one. There's so, I mean,
your babies.
yeah, I mean, it's just, look at the spikes. They're just so cool. No, I love them
So
all.
do you have any kind of marine background? Joanne asked, like, you're not a marine scientist, just make it up. You have a PhD, come on.
No, I do have a bachelor's degree in communication studies. When I was a kid, I really wanted to be a vet, but advanced bio was a big turnoff. So I just didn't pursue it. And maybe if things had been different, you know, I don't know, because I am so interested. And I mentioned it at some point, I am going to become a Florida master naturalist. And there's a couple courses I need to do that. I wanted to do it so badly, but because of COVID, the classes were remote and they go on field trips. And so if I go, you know, I want to go out and see the slash pine or see the seagrass, or like, I really want to experience it. So I had put that off until they had live classes. And as soon as they had the, you know, in-person classes, I got bombarded with work. So it's just a timing thing. I absolutely will do it because I want, like, I'm excited to learn about this stuff. So I have my books, my research, I'll read articles, this and that, but to answer a very long answer to a very short question, no, I actually do not have any kind of science or marine background.
Well, you're good at it. You're faking it really well. That's good.
I love it. I'm learning as I go.
A few people have asked, like, is there some shell you don't pick up? And then are there, somebody asked, why is the banded tulip considered to be a rookie shell?
Okay. So yes, there are actually shells I don't pick up and collect. One of them is like the crossbarred Venus, and it's always at the beach. And I could just go to the beach now and get one and come home. So I don't collect them. They are always on the beach. So I don't typically collect them. The rookie shell was a little story. I was shelling on Sanibel, I guess a while ago at this point. And sometimes you stop and you chat with other shellers. Say, hey, what'd you find? You know, you exchange pleasantries and whatnot. And there's a gentleman on Sanibel, and I've run into him a couple of times. So we did that, you know, what did you find? And I said, oh, I found some banded tulips. And he said, oh, those are rookie shells. And it was kind of, really? I think they're kind of cool. So I thought it was funny. And so for a little videos, I just thought the story was kind of funny. So for a little while, I was calling the banded tulips rookie shells. And it was just that one encounter from another sheller, and I got a kick out of the comment. So
That's pretty funny.
I went with it for a little while.
Several people are asking, is there a better time of year to go? Like winter, summer, October, April?
And this I had heard, it was almost like one of those like wives' tales. And I went to the Sanibel Shell Museum, and they have not only just the collections of shells and amazing, but it's educational. And there was a display that really kind of talked about the different times of year. What happens in the summer is the way that the wind blows, it pushes the water underneath and back out. So just the winds come in and the shells go out. And so does the sand. And so the beaches will change in the summer. In the winter, the winds change. And so the wind brings the shells and the sand back in. It changes the current underneath the water and will push the shells back up. So from a time standpoint, the winter is better for shelling. There are literally, there's more shells. And I moved here in August and probably started shelling in August and just noticed like, there's so many shells, you know, October, November, December. And it was like a spigot, you know, come March, April, they're gone. No, they're not gone. They're always there. But the best time to shell is winter, with the caveat that down here it is also season. So very big popular vacation destination, and a lot of people don't live here year round. They are snowbirds. So they live in Ohio or wherever they live, and then they come and live here in the winter. So our population grows in the winter along with all the people that come here in the winter because the weather is so nice. So the point is it gets really crowded. The beaches get crowded. There's traffic it just gets a lot more crowded down here, but it's great to find the shells. So it's kind of this, you know, when people say, when should I come? It's really hard to say. It's more expensive. There's more people, but there's more shells. In the summer, it's less expensive. I can have the beach to myself. I mean, you've seen my videos. I'll be out there for hours and I'll pass 2 people. I mean, it's amazing. But it's a lot harder to find the shell. So it just depends, you know.
Is there a huge temperature difference? Like the summer is super, super hot and the winter is just warm, or?
Yeah, the summer is very, very hot. Yeah, it's Florida and it's humid and it is hot. So in the summer, it can get very warm. I kind of liken it to the winter where people up north will kind of be stuck inside because it's so cold. We're here, we're almost a little bit stuck inside because it's so hot, but you always have the beach. It's always not as hot. It's always got a breeze. And there's a lot of people have pools. So it's you know, it can get hot. I love the heat. If it's 70, I'm getting a little chilly. So, you know, I was meant to Florida. The winter, it can get in the maybe 50s, you know, 60s in the morning. And it's always when there's a great low tide. I've been out there and it's been in the 50s and I'm freezing my tail off, but it's a great time to go shelling, especially at low tide. So I've already bought my wetsuit pants. I do have like scuba pants. So I got those. I got to figure out something for my feet, but the cold will not stop me. Nothing can stop me. I'm going to be out there every week.
That's great. So tell us just a little bit about, like, when you get to the beach, you get out of the car, you've got some gear, like what kind of stuff do you bring? And then you get down to the beach and you just sort of look left and right and look for piles of shells, or how does that go? Or do you go in the water, or? Normally I'll get to the beach. I put on my funny hat so if you were to see, I'm a fright. I mean, you'll know me. I got long sleeve shirt on because I don't bother with the sunscreen. I just wear a long shirt. I have this big floppy hat with a flap in the back. I got my sunglasses. I will typically just wear shorts. And then I got my shell bag, a trusty shell bag. You guys have seen this. And I think it used to be a Halloween trick-or-treat bag. It used to have 2 handle straps. So I cut it. I mean, this is very ghetto. I mean, so
it is
fancy.
It's not fancy, but it works for me. And I hang it over my shoulder, and so far so good. And then I always have my little container. So this is for tiny shells, sand dollars, anything, delicate urchins, anything I wouldn't want to crush. So I'll put that in here and then throw it in the shell bag. And then I did start wearing shoes because I injured myself. So it's just, they're not great, they're not perfect, but they're cheap and they're good enough. And I give a lot of people that link. I just got them on Amazon. So if you're interested in the shoes, shoot me an email. I will send you a link on where you can get them. To answer, going back to your original question, which was, what do I do when I get to the beach, is I go straight for the water, and I do try to get an indication just to kind of see if there's something on the beach. it never really seems to matter. It doesn't seem to be the real gauge, but of course I get excited when I get there and there's lots of shells. I mean, that's a great way, to start the beach walk. And other times there's not much and I got to walk maybe a mile. And then all of a sudden there'll be great shells. So you just don't know. I mean, it could be, I could go to the same beach probably every single day for a month and I would find the conditions different, the shells different. It changes constantly. So that's another kind of exciting thing, because I do say you never know what you're going to find, and I'm not kidding. Like you don't know. Sometimes I think it's going to be a fantastic shelling day and not so much. And other times I'll go out, it's going to be fun, and it ends up being like amazing. So I just don't know. I try to shell in the water. I like shelling in the water, just kind of walking in the shallow water. But if there's shells on the beach, I'll zigzag. I'm in the water checking, I'm up on the beach checking. And so just doing a lot of walking.
Yeah. A couple people have said you should try the scuba boots, those little booties.
The
Have you
scuba
seen
boots.
those? Yeah, they're zip up or Velcro, and they'd
I've
be
seen
very stylish with your scuba pants.
I'm right. I can imagine if I can find hot pink ones, those are the ones I'm going to find. I want
Excellent.
scuba booties. I'll look for the scuba booties.
Yvonne just mentioned your trip to Kais Island. And I don't, if you guys want to watch that, so, a couple of videos, so much fun. But have you gone with different tour groups, or is there one you like, or are they all great, or?
They all have been very, very nice. From a budget standpoint, look, if saving money were an Olympic sport, I would medal every year. Like
Yes.
I try to just any way I can kind of make the dollar stretch. So what were you just
Asking about the tour groups, the tour guides.
Thank you. So what I try to do is figure out where on the island I want to go, and I just see if all the tours go the same part. For Coya Costa, for example, Coya Costa, you can get dropped off on the north end of the island, or you can go to the south end of the island. And I wanted to go to the south end, but it's a shorter trip. So it's only 2.5 hours on the island versus 4 hours if you go to the north. So, I mean, I really, really kind of look. I've gone to Coya Costa with Captiva Cruises, and that was very nice. I didn't find a lot that day. I found some sand dollars. I mean, it was a nice trip. The people were lovely, and that was one of the tours. My very first tour was with sand dollar shelling. That was out of Goodland, and we went past the Romano Dome homes, which that's a whole nother story, but those are super cool too. And I got to experience the south end of Kais out of Goodland, and then out of the Cambaxis Marina. I've taken 2 tours. I took a kayak tour, which was amazing. And that was with SWFL Shell Guide. So that is like a very personalized experience. She's right there the whole time. On the dime, she will change her mind where she wants to go based on where she thinks the best shells for you are going to be. So I loved that. So plus it wasn't a boat, like you're in nature, the dolphin are there, and that was really kind of magical. And I found a rose murex when I went. So that was very exciting. And that we actually went to the sandbars down near Kais Island, but in the vicinity. I mean, really, really close, but not actually Kais Island. And we could have went to Kais with her, but we ended up going to the sandbar because she personalized it for you. So that's SWFL Shell Guide. And then I took a tour to Kais, the last one that I took with Florida Adventures and Rentals. And the price was unbelievable. It was like $45. And I went from 8:30 in the morning to about 1:30. So it was fantastic, but that was off season. So that was early October, I think it was. Or maybe, no, it might've been September. I apologize. I go to the beach a lot. I think it was September. And so it was off season. And now the prices are totally different. So now they're anticipating the crowds, and so the demand kind of changes. I still would recommend going, but the tour that I took isn't available right now. I've also gone to Keewaydin with the Hemingway shuttle. That was fantastic. And I went in April. I specifically remember going in April because it was cleared out by then. So season had kind of ended at that point. And then I went to Keewaydin. So I've taken a couple. It really kind of depends on how personalized you want it. if you wanted something real personal, maybe you want to go on a kayak, maybe you don't want to go on a kayak. I mean, it just kind of depends. So I've done a couple. Eventually I'm going to do them all just so I can be that resource. And I'd like to experience the differences between them. They were all very, very good. It's just a matter of kind of what your personal preference is, where you're staying, how far you want to drive to get to, a marina to take off, and how long you want to be on the island destination. So lots of different options out there.
If somebody wants to get your opinion, they can just can they reach you through your YouTube channel or Instagram, Facebook, or?
In email. I do. I mean, I between the email, the YouTube comments, the Instagram messages, as well as the comments and Facebook Messenger, you can find me. I'm out there. It's a little easier for me to manage the email, but feel free to reach out to me any way that you can.
Sounds good. Somebody asked about, Catherine says, do you bother with shuffle in the water to shoo away the rays? Which makes me wonder, are there dangerous creatures out there, or?
Stingray, the Stingray Shuffle. Actually, if I see them, I will forget sometimes. But if I've seen one, because they hide and they're little and they do have barbs. So you do need to be careful about that. I don't see them all that often. I saw the giant southern stingray when I went down with one of the tours. I mean, it was awesome. And then the little cow-nose rays. But I will shuffle if I can't see the water. Well, actually, they're the same color as the sand. So if you're unsure, do a little bit of shuffling. It'll give them the noise. They'll feel the vibrations, and you should be okay. But for them, I'm not worried about it. And even when I was in Sanibel a couple of weeks ago, there were jellyfish everywhere. So it's, just be careful. You just be aware of your surroundings, and, try to pick your head up and just, watch where you're walking. You do have to be careful.
Okay, how about that fighting conch? That thing that was trying to get you, man.
I love when they come out and they're just real slow, and just with their big eye stalks. I mean, just like like in SpongeBob had Gary with the big eye stalks. Like I think it's fascinating. I think that they're so cool. I know they're creepy looking, or maybe someone would. I think they're cute. I mean, with their little eyeballs and their little proboscis, and
no, they're not cute. You're wrong. Just kidding. So when you pick up a shell and there's a creature in there, it goes right back, right? It
has to. Usually I'll film it, check it out, try to see if there's anything cool about it. But I never, anything alive. Believe it or not, I want to say it was recently 80s, you were allowed to take 2 species of live animal. You were allowed. And I think Sanibel was the community that really started pushing for the ecology and the protection of the actual animals. So it is illegal at this point. It's illegal, and it's not cool. I mean, it's they're animals. And so, yes, anytime I see a creature, I'm excited. I'll film it, say hi, see what it does, but it always goes back in the water.
That's great. Yvonne also asked if you've ever shelled in the Florida Keys, and if not, is it on your bucket list, or?
It's on my list. I wouldn't even say bucket list. I've talked with someone else. I need a flag. If you go snorkeling in the Keys, you do need a dive flag to let the boat, because it's very popular with boaters and it's for your own safety. So I haven't gone yet. I do plan on going. I got to get myself a dive flag, but yes, I haven't done it yet, but I absolutely am going to.
Are there other places that you're hoping to go?
Well, long term, all right, so let's just say I win the lottery tomorrow.
You will.
And I buy an RV. And so I'm going to drive from beach to beach to beach, and I'll edit in my little van, and that would be my life. But I would love to travel, because I know that there's a lot of shells here, but there's got to be other really cool things in other beaches. They could be famous for, I don't know what, but I just have a feeling that there's more to visiting the beach than just the shells or the creatures. There's other stuff out there. So eventually I'll be able to travel more and see more beaches.
Allison asked, what kind of camera do you use? Because it's very steady.
I use my iPhone.
I've heard of those.
I use my iPhone. And the reason I do is because it has a fantastic camera, and I am constantly, the focus is, if I'm going from here to the ground, the focus is fantastic. And it's just easy for me to use. I can shoot in 4K. There's no reason not to. So that is my above ground. And then I have an Osmo Action. That is my underground camera, underwater camera rather. I had a GoPro, I killed it. So I had to get an Osmo Action, and so far, it's been great. So that's my new current underwater camera. And then I have a drone that occasionally I'm always nervous because I'm always near the water. And if there's any kind of wind, and so I'm nervous about it, but every now and then, if I'm going somewhere kind of special, I'll bring the drone and I'll put that up too.
That's fun. Really, really fun. So everybody keeps saying, what's on your bucket list for shells? What's on your bucket list for shells?
So if I love to find a Junonia. And so that's one of those ones. I've heard of other people finding them at the beaches that I go to. So I'm hoping I'll just get lucky, because I do feel a lot of it is luck. So I'm hoping to get a Junonia. I did finally get my rose murex. There's some comb murexes that are just beautiful. And I'm trying to think if there's any other, at this point, I just like to find shells I haven't found yet.
Yeah.
Because just adding that variety and seeing it, and it's very hard there. You need to, at least my experience, and the reason that I can identify them so quickly is that I've picked them up hundreds of times. So if I only pick up a shell once or twice, it's still going to stump me. I'm not going to necessarily immediately know what that shell is. Although there's other ones that like the Junonia, like you just know, you just know what kind of shell it is. So there's a couple. I would say for now, I'm just hunting for anything I have not found before.
Have you ever considered going to Hawaii or somewhere in the Pacific to look for shells?
I would love to. If I had to, I would like to go to Australia. I'd like to go to the Philippines, Japan, and probably Hawaii. I would love to. I chatted with somebody in the Bahamas. I'd love to go there too. So yeah, I mean, if I were going to pick a vacation, it probably would, be kind of circled around where can I find shells. So I would love to travel and see the beach.
Joanne said that she was on a Real Kind shelling tour and she found a Junonia there. So they live in very deep water, so you got to wait for some kind of a storm to fling them up on the beach. So that's why it's so hard.
The same with the cones. They typically live in the deep water. You can find them, but those Junonias are way out there. Well, good for you, your Junonia.
Yes. So if anybody else has any other questions, I've been grabbing those from the chat. But feel free to turn on your microphone and ask questions out loud if you're tired of hearing from me. So I was wondering, like, you're down there and you pick up your 87 jillionth banded tulip, and then what would make you keep it? Does it have to be perfect? Does it have to be big? Does it have to be a different color? Or why would you keep one?
Okay, so let's see. This one, I probably would keep. This is a banded tulip, and they're really hard to find without this broken. This is the aperture. So the opening is the aperture. If it's not broken, I'm going to keep it. And sometimes I keep the broken ones too, because I'm so much of a shell nut that, like, I would never put glue on. And again, it's a personal, it's not wrong or right. I would never put glue on this, or I like it just the way it is. So when I am going to do a craft, or I'm thinking I'm going to do something, I have my imperfect shells, and those I can bear to put glue on and glue them to something. So the banded tulips, I'm typically that one's actually broken. It's hard, and it just depends. I from one visit to the next, I could change my mind about what I'm going to keep. I mean, sometimes I just don't know. Like, it's just kind of the mood I'm in.
What do you do with your shells? Do you ever sell them, or do you make art out of them? Or
I wish I could make art, but I do. I have a couple projects I'd like to do, and I do have some shells put to the side for that. And I do sell shells. So what I'll do is I'll probably, keep one or two, I'll put them in one of these, containers, and then the rest of them I sort and I put in a bag to sell to other people.
Cool. Pam has raised her hand. I'm so impressed. So she used the raise your hand function, but I don't know if I'm asking her to unmute. Okay, I think you're unmuted now, Pam.
I just want to know if you're going to be going to the Caribbean, because I saw another show that they had some really beautiful shells.
I know, I'm so jealous. I would love to go to the Caribbean. I actually have 0 travel plans right now. I am very, very busy. I'm so busy. So right now there's no downtime for me, no traveling, but I would love to. The Caribbean, that would definitely be on my list, you know, same as, you know, Australia and Japan and some of those other places I mentioned. I would love to, but right now I don't have any plans. Probably the Keys will be my next kind of big travel kind of trip. And that's about 4 hours of driving.
Oh, that's pretty far. Monique said she went to Fiji and the shelling was amazing.
Oh, I'm so jealous. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I have a
Misty asked if there are any other shelling YouTube channels that you watch or that you know of.
You know, I do. I like Solace Shelling. I think I think his photography is great, his knowledge, and he's nice. He's kind of a chill kind of guy as well. Salty Reflections, that's another one, period. I've been so busy and I just haven't really been able to watch. Shell Stories I also like. I think he was away for the summer, but he's back, and so probably will start producing. And he very, very smart, like knows his shells and will correct if I get one wrong, and he's gonna correct me. So
I'll let you know.
That's wonderful. And trying to think if there's any. My Australian friend, who's why is he escaping now?
That's all right. He'll come back when we're done.
Yeah, Jono, and he has a channel. It'll come. It's escaping. Done a promo for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about dipping a shell in muriatic acid. Oh, and actually, let me let Caroline. She's raised her hand, and she's unmuted. So ask away.
Oh, gosh, this is scary. Hi, chicken. How are you?
Hi.
Lovely video.
You're up. What are you doing? You crazy thing.
Yes, I'm up. I'm got the matchsticks in. This is so weird. What was it that kicked off your interest at the beach?
I think I've always had that attraction to the beach. My husband and I, we would go take the kids there. And this is up when we lived in New Jersey. And we always really we liked the beach. And we would go mall walking. So up in the winter, up in New Jersey, it's very cold. And we'd walk in the mall and we'd say, oh my gosh, can't wait until it's warm and we can, go to the beach. So we always kind of had that pull. We were always kind of going back to the beach. And I liked making videos. I would do it kind of as a gag for my family at the holidays. So I'd kind of take everything from the year, all the pictures and video I took, and just kind of put this thing together. And I loved it once a year. And so it just kind of pulled the two together for me, between my love of the beach and I like making videos. And so maybe I could, try doing something like that. So even if I wasn't on YouTube, I still would be fascinated with the beach. I'm probably really annoying to go for a walk with, because I stop every 2 seconds to look and pick something up and check it out and, say what kind of shell it is. But I think I have a natural love for nature, the outdoors, and especially the beach. And then I'm kind of pulling that together with my little bit creative side that I like to make the videos. And then the YouTube channel just kind of was born from all that.
Great. A couple people have raised their hands, so feel free to chime in.
Hey, hi. I'm a Jersey girl. Hi.
Hey.
I'm a Jersey girl too. And I was curious, what was your favorite things that you ever found on the beach in New Jersey?
I honestly never found much in New Jersey. I did not discover, I know, beachcombing, like I didn't really beachcomb in New Jersey. I would go to the beach and I'd find a, northern quahog and cool. But that's all I ever really found. Maybe sea glass, maybe. So it wasn't all that interesting to me. I loved going to the beach. I loved the noise, the birds. I like the smell, like everything about it. but I wasn't really a beachcomber. We'd go walking, but we never really found anything. So when I came here, you know, mind blown that there were all these amazing things all over the beach. And it just, every time I went back, it just kind of pulled me in more and more. And I just wanted to learn more and experience more. So I never really found much in New Jersey. I wasn't a big beachcomber until I moved down here to Southwest Florida.
Wow, that's cool. Now, were you in northern Jersey beaches or southern? Because I remember finding the purple shells and sea glass. Never found any of that.
No, we would most of the beach we go to Seaside Park. So it's a little bit north of Seaside Heights. So we'd take the Seaside, you know, exit 83, and we'd head up to Seaside Park right by the Island Beach State Park there. So that's typically where we would spend our time, is Island Beach State Park. And then we just never really found anything. We also spent a lot of time on Assateague down in Maryland. And again, you know, just didn't really find anything. I loved going. It was, you know, but from a beachcombing perspective, I never really found much. So it wasn't until I got here and that bug really kind of bit me.
And we're all better for it.
Oh,
Exactly.
Aw.
So many people have said that, like Elaine said, I just want to thank you for your videos. You know, I had a rough month. Your videos are a happy place for me. So very, very sweet.
Randy Laneberger, yes, I can't explain like how much I appreciate it, because I do what I do because I really enjoy it, and to get so much back, like I feel like I get back more than I give, if that makes sense. So it's this truly wonderful symbiotic relationship that we have, that I like doing what I'm doing, creating videos, and people like watching them and learning the stuff that I'm learning as I go. So I do find it to be, you know, truly rewarding to, you know, do what I'm doing.
People really appreciate it. So it's great. A couple people have said shelling down under Shellcade, or those, okay, you got it. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So yeah,
And then somebody said, do you watch Pam Rambeau's I Love Shelling videos or the Virtual Shelling Network?
she's the queen. I do. Hers are more a little shorter, Pam's, but I have watched them and learned from her I Love Shelling website. So I've also read her stuff and her contributions. So I do. And the virtually shelling, I have watched. Yes, I watch that occasionally, and it just kind of kicks me back. I wish I had more time.
I know. I was going to ask. So you go to the beach and you videotape, and then how long does it take you to put together the videos?
It depends on, you know, the longer videos take a real long time. So I do try to chop, I try to keep them less than 30 minutes. It's kind of manageable for me. You know, 40 just gets too long and I cut them in half. But from a time standpoint, you figure I go to the beach and that's probably 4 or 5 hours from the time you leave and get home. And then the footage goes on the computer. You drop it into Final Cut Pro, you kind of scrub through it, you edit it a little bit, and then sometimes I'll write a little something. Most of the time I'm just kind of reacting to, you know, I was there, I experienced it, and so it's just really kind of reacting. I could take that same footage and make 20 different videos. I don't even know what I'm gonna say. Like I just see something and things pop out of my mouth. Sometimes I leave it, sometimes I edit it, but after that's all done, I mean, you figure it probably takes me 10, 12, 14 hours maybe. And that's just to get the video up. And then I'm spending a lot of time, you know, responding and making sure that people feel my love, the love that is given to me, they get back. And so I'm responding to the comments and the messages and everything else. So it's a nice chunk of time.
Yeah, I bet. Hey, Monique, you had your hand raised, so jump on
Yes,
in.
Thank you, Sharmon, so much. You share my passion, and it's been wonderful looking at your videos. My husband, my twin sister, we love them. Do you have a certain person that goes with you and shares your passion down there, or do you enjoy going by yourself?
To be honest, I actually like going by myself, and it's probably a lot of it is because I'm filming. I'm at work. Don't talk to me. I have to edit. Stop, you know, so I like being by myself. There's nobody else in my shot. I don't have to worry about talking. And so I'm a little kind of picky like that. So when I go to the beach to make my videos, I would prefer to be by myself. If I were going to beachcomb or just go and have fun, I would prefer to be with a friend or, you know, my husband or some kind of, you know, sharing that.
This one.
It's cool. So Pam,
Thank you.
Pam, you're on.
Oh, okay, sorry. I just wanted to know if you ever find jewelry in amongst the shells. Maybe someone was laying there that the day
You know-
before and the shells, you know.
Oh, I have never found jewelry, although I know that people have using metal detectors because that's a thing that some people will do. And we've chit-chatted with some metal detector people. My husband had done it a little bit. It's hot though. It's probably only really enjoyable in the winter because it's just hot. You're not moving,
Right.
You're not to the water, you're a little bit closer, you know, you're away. So I have not found any jewelry, but I'm sure people with metal detectors have.
Probably. Okay.
Hey, Caroline, did you have a question? Like,
Oh,
how
is
do I
that
make
for
your-
me?
Yes.
No, sorry. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, no, I'm just sitting here listening. Sorry.
Okay, I just learned how to lower your hand, so I'm undoing your hand.
We're all learning.
Oh,
Sit down, everyone.
hang on. Oh gosh.
No, feel free to jump in, honestly. A couple of people have had to leave, but they just wanted to say they love your channel and it's so great to put a face to your voice. So it's very true. It's true. It's really so nice of you to have given us all this time. And I know it's late for you guys. It's only 5 o'clock here, but
Starting to-
yeah, let us know when you want to kick us out.
I want to just share a funny story, and I've shared it before, but I was shelling on a sandbar. So I'm in the middle of nowhere, you know, and again, you're kind of chit-chatting with somebody. And I guess I was chit-chatting and the woman looks up and she goes, "Are you Sharmon?" And she recognized
Oh my gosh.
because my voice she recognized. So sometimes I think I can go out there incognito, you know, to look for that. I'm always wearing, that's always in my videos. So if I want to go incognito, I could take that off, but I can't change my voice. So
No. That's great. They had their celebrity encounter.
oh, hardly. It's always nice to see, to meet
know.
other people who have the same love that I do.
Yeah, everybody is saying thank you so much for being so great about responding to comments. And I love your channel and I'll share it with anyone who will listen. I like that. Jacqueline, it's like, yeah, leave me
Talk
alone.
marketing, my promotion department. You guys are my
Exactly. Your fans are here. But I'm so thankful that you did this today, Sharmon. It's been really, really fun. And that video, my gosh, it was just, it was like the highlights reel with just all the best stuff. I loved all the animals. I'm sure everybody did. Hey, Monique has a question too. So I'm going to unmute you here.
Hi, somebody had mentioned something about jewelry. So when you're on the beach shelling, I'm fortunate enough that I'm a flight attendant and I travel all over and I go to different islands and different places and I collect obviously shells from all over the place and I label them jars. But I have definitely found jewelry, and that's part of what I put in my jar with the seashells because it's part of the treasure that I find. And in my house, I have jars all over with labels, but I've definitely found rings and necklaces, and it just enhances that look in the jar with what I've found. So it is kind of cool.
That is
Wow.
fun.
Now, did you find most of those in the United States or were you abroad?
Both overseas and in the United States. Yeah. Because I have different islands, I have different jars for different islands, but suddenly, you know, you're looking at the shells and you're like, there's a necklace and you're like, you grab it. So it's part of putting it in the jar that I label and it's just kind of cool.
You found yeah, I understand that. I got my East Coast little jar. So yeah.
I know I have jars labeled everywhere, island countries. Fiji was amazing. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank you.
Come
I
on.
just want that.
Hey, come on, ticket for tomorrow.
You got to play to win, Sharmon. Oh yeah, that.
Right.
Little detail. Well, cool. Well, if you guys have any more questions, let me know. Otherwise, Sharmon, thank you so much. Everybody, make sure you subscribe to our channel. So subscribe to the channel, and then there's a little button with an alarm bell, and that'll remind you.
Notifications, and don't, because if you want to maybe win this beauty,
Yes,
you're gonna have to be a subscriber. So
super gorgeous. And maybe tell us a little bit about your Patreon.
oh yes, I do have a Patreon. I was I'm honestly embarrassed to just even ask, like, could you just give me money to help me? But I did, and I have a couple different levels. And so if you are at a certain level, I put your name at the end of my video, and so that'll stay on YouTube for as long as it stays. So yeah, and it truly helps, because at the end of the day, I would love to make SWF Beach Life my full-time job. I would love to be able to dedicate all of my time to SW Beach Life. And so those Patreons kind of just kind of nudge me a little bit closer to that goal. So I do have a Patreon. You can do, I think I have $1 just as a thank you. There's a $5 level, and then at $10 per month, then you're at the $10 level, your name goes at the end of my video. So I have kind of like credits that scroll, and so I list out all the Patreons at that level as a thank you back to them, really. And so yeah, they're very, very important to me, and it's truly humbling that people want to support me in that manner. So I'm just thrilled.
Well, I think you're doing something that people love, so it's not a big surprise. So anyway, well, thank you so much. Hopefully, Sharmon, you're going to do an article in Beachcombing magazine sometime soon. No pressure. I know you're busy.
I already got my shell picked out, and I will be contributing. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Hopefully having a nice long relationship with you and the magazine, since we share that love of the beach.
Yeah. Well, and everybody remember, there is a discount code of SWF Beach Life for 10% off anything in the Beachcombing magazine shop. And please join us on November 27th. You can find all the information on the website, but we're going to have a full day of events like this. So there's going to be 10 different presentations by different beachcombers. So I hope you guys can make it. So thank you, everybody. And if you feel like unmuting yourself and clapping, please do.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharmon.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
That's great. Thanks so much. Totally enjoy it.
Totally rock.
Ooh, lucky.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see you guys on Sunday.
Okay, bye-bye.